Before the board game company SPI, or Simulated Publications Inc., met its effective demise in 1982, it was the main rival for Avalon Hill throughout the 1970s. It pushed for more accuracy in how it simulated history, and it published 380 games. But which of these board games are most worthy of commemorating? This video will present what we believe are SPI's 10 best and most important board games, here on Legendary Tactics. If you've ever picked up a forgotten copy of a board game from a garage sale, or you found a dusty copy of an SPI game in a relative's game cupboard, or maybe you had a weird teacher who got you playing these strange games, hang around to see if you recognize any of these top 10 SPI titles. I'm Flash, here today with a list that highlights their most notable, most loved, and most influential board games. With 380 games to choose from, we know we'll miss some great games, so please add your own top 5 or 10 SPI games in the comments. And before we present our list of 10, a few honorable mentions go to number 1, Napoleon at Waterloo from 1971. This one was known as an easy-to-play pocket-sized game, and one that was sent out free with a subscription to the magazine's Strategy and Tactics. Number 2, I wish I could add Jutland to the list. This was a game designed by Jim Dunnigan, the founder of SPI, because I remember playing this one on the floor as a kid, and I remember this game in my cupboard, but it was published by Avalon Hill, so it got cut. And finally, our last honorable mention goes to number 3, to The Green Fields Beyond, and that's from 1978, which simulated the appearance of tanks for the first time in World War II, and that one really connects to the imagination. Let's begin the list now. Number 10. SPI was really known for its historical accuracy, and their games tended to be counter and hex heavy, and they focused on simulating history. Our number 10 game is a game designed by Jim Dunnigan himself, who founded SPI in 1969. This 2-player game, Sniper from 1973, was one of the first commercial tactical war games that used man-to-man combat in World War II. And it was certainly complex, but it immersed you in ground-level combat. Like many SPI games, it made you feel like you were on the field, making the decisions for the units. Number 9. One challenge in making this list is that we have over 40 years of hindsight that overlays how we look at these games, and some SPI games have aged very well and others not so much, but we're going to stick on this list to the ones that have aged well. Our number 9 pick is Death Maze from 1979. It's a fantasy dungeon crawler that looks surprisingly similar, at least in concept, to many modern games. It can be played solo. Players create an adventuring party to beat up on an ungame-mastered game system. It uses a modular board, and it's a cooperative game. It really sounds like a description of a modern game to me. It takes some great elements from wargaming, and it blends them together in the fantasy genre. And in so many ways, Death Maze was really well ahead of its time. Number 8. The next game on the list uses a different scale than many of our other war games on the list. Ney vs. Wellington from 1979 uses Wellington's victory game system, and it focuses on battalion level simulation, so each infantry or cavalry unit represents 100 men or horses. What made this game stand out is its use of an asymmetrical sequence of play. While this adds a degree of complexity, I find that most wargamers aren't afraid of complicated rules, and like many SPI games, this one came out in the Strategy and Tactics magazine. It was issue 74, and there's just something awesome about getting a board game in a magazine and folding out that board and just having a lot of fun. Number 7. When we put this list together, we wanted to be sure to include a variety of genres and types of SPI games. Our number 7 pick is Dawn of the Dead from 1978. One player's trapped inside the mall, and the other player controls the zombies. I love this game's versatility and its asymmetrical win conditions. If the zombies kill any 3 characters, they win. If the humans secure the mall and kill the zombie inhabitants, they win. It can be played as a solitaire or cooperative game, and also competitively with 2 to 4 players. Like many of the games on this list, you can find this game on Steam if you have Tabletop Simulator, and I'll link to my video on how to access these above. Number 6. Something I've noticed is that wargaming has its grassroots in North America, whereas in Europe the tendency is towards, well, Eurogames, or games focused on building engines or civilizations. It's no coincidence that gamers in Europe were less inclined to want to simulate and play conflict scenarios set in their own continent after all the world wars. As a result, these war games, often viewed through an American lens and designed by American designers, didn't shy away from realism and accuracy and the horrors of war. Napoleon's Last Battles is a quadra game, and it includes Ligny, Quatre Bras, Wavre, and La Belle Alliance. and that's Waterloo. It uses the same system developed for Napoleon at Waterloo, which was the game that started it all for SPI. It's one of the best pencil and paper military simulations for a number of reasons, but it's certainly complex, so good luck if you give that one a try. If you enjoy content on some of these off the beaten path games, please consider subscribing now. Your support really helps our channel out. Number 5. For my 5th pick, I chose another Quadra game, which is a game that includes 4 different battles, all played using the same rules. The Battle for the Ardennes, or as you might know it, the Battle of the Bulge. This was the last major German offensive campaign on the Western Front in World War II, and it features 4 battles: Saint-Vith, Clairvaux, Celle, and Sedan. For history buffs, this game really presents the Battle of the Bulge accurately, and it strikes the right scope, the right scale to make the gamer feel like they have immediacy in the decisions at the ground level. Number 4. Panzer Group Guderian is a landmark game, also designed by Jim Dunnigan, that was later picked up by Avalon Hill. This is the Battle of Smolensk as the Germans attempt to capture Smolensk, and it brought the idea of untried Soviet units into play. The reason it's so high on my list is for this mechanic. These were hidden units that only revealed their strength when they got into a conflict, and some of them were low quality, while others were high. Even the Russian player didn't know which of their units were the best ones because Stalin had actually killed systematically all the known competent officers, and these new commanders were a complete unknown. So not only did this create a haze of war when you're playing the game, but it also made the game much more replayable because of this unit uncertainty. If you have any friends who might appreciate a video on SPI Games, please be sure to share this with them and like the video if you're getting value from this. Number 3. Our number 3 game uses a science fiction theme reminiscent of Rampage from the Commodore 64 or King of Tokyo, the new board game, or just the Godzilla movies and Pacific Rim, all of these mashed together. It's a 2-player, asymmetrical game with 1 player custom designing a kaiju and its powers facing off against a player controlling the police, firefighters, and military units. The game is called Creature That Ate Sheboygan. In addition to its mainstream theme, it came with a 4-page set of rules, which kept the game very accessible. And this game ranks so highly on our list because it appealed to non-war gamers and it brought a whole new approach to gaming. Number 2. We had to include at least one monster wargame on this list. With over 2,000 counters, Terrible Swift Sword is one of the biggest, perhaps second only to the campaign for North Africa, and that one takes 40 days to play. But comically, Terrible Swift Sword likely takes even longer to play than the actual 3-day Battle of Gettysburg from July 1st to 3rd, 1863. It's a heavily tactical game, and it won the Origins Award for Best Tactical Game of 1976. If you're looking for a game with a beautiful map, a reasonably short rulebook at 32 pages, and very precise unit level counters, this might be the one to try. Number 1. We put a poll out on our channel to see what your top game is, and I was definitely surprised by your choice, but we like to listen to our Steam viewers. And originally this one was going to be around the 3rd or 4th slot on our list, but we bumped it right to the top because of you. While 4 of the options on our list got between 11 and 19%, this game got 43%, which was a resounding vote for The War of the Ring. This came out in 1977. This game also has some companion folio games, Gondor and Sauron, which are collectively called the Games of Middle-earth. It's really 2 games in one. There's a military game with all the orc armies, and it's also a character game where the goal is to dump the ring into Mount Doom. So while some people feel this game was a flawed masterpiece because those 2 elements of the game never really meshed together that well, the reason that we have the 2011 game War of the Ring, which is immensely popular, is because of SPI's original take on the game. But if you want to simulate the events of Lord of the Rings, this is a good one to try. One game that we didn't include on the list was a response to the 1968 Columbia University protests against Vietnam, which Jim Dunnigan witnessed as a bystander. It's called Up Against the Wall, but it gets full credit for its awesome name. If you enjoyed this video, you might also like our Top 10 Avalon Hill Games video. Thanks for your time.